questions did you want to ask him?
I don't know. I got to formulate some questions. I mean, because there's, because again, the elections are right around the corner for not only you, but also, the three Southern executive committees. And in some, again, even when you talk about, oh, we lost Lynn, she'll be back. But even when you speak about the election process down in your area, it doesn't even sound like, tumultuous at all. It's just, okay, I'm running for this thing. I'm probably going to win because people, it doesn't seem very challenging. And I'm not saying that you're probably going to win just because it doesn't seem challenging. It just seems as though everyone's on the same page. Whether you win or lose, you're still going to be supportive of whoever's in that seat.
Yes. I'll tell you one of the reasons why that is.
Right.
We're a smaller party, right? I think Broward County has a lot more members than we do, and some of the other counties have a lot more members. So for us, at least, it's much easier for us to know each other and discuss these things with each other, and kind of work together. And we also have a lot of subcommittees and a lot of chairs, a lot of subcommittee and a lot of subcommittee chairmen, and so they are able to also kind of do their thing. And one of the great committees that we have actually is our election integrity subcommittee, because they do a lot of really good work in getting things organized for poll watching, for ballot recounts, and for signature verifications over the election department. And so, I mean, it's not really much, it's not really different because we've all been working together for so long that everyone kind of has their own area and avenue to help, right?
And this is in conjunction with the municipal, like, you have a Miami Beach Republican Club or like a Doral Republican Club and things like that. And those presidents of those clubs, they still come to your meetings, your larger meetings.
And we've formed really good relationships with them, and with our candidates too, right? We've all really been working together for so long, and so maybe that kind of the process being so open and so available for people. I don't know. Maybe that's a little bit different in Dade than it is in other counties. I'm not sure.
It sounds not only different, but sounds interesting. It sounds like teamwork, which is it's so foreign. Again, my reluctancy to join up and be a member of BREC is because, again, it doesn't seem like a team sport going on over there. You know what I mean? So it's like hearing you talk about Miami-Dade sounds refreshing. And again, the results showed, because in the last election cycle, you guys had tremendous success. So. Like I was just telling Lynn, you just got back. I was just telling Kevin that
I heard
even though he's in an election. Okay, good. So I have to explain it to you then. Nah, you're caught up. So so that was just one of my questions. And again, it's another question here. I mean, the money thing.
No, wait, I wanted to ask also, since you're on that topic. I was thinking, like, does the Miami-Dade so the executive committee composes of all the committee members, right? Of course, like you have that. Did the board part, or no, the executive, right? Which is like the chair, the vice chair, board, and So the executive board. So do they think about maybe inviting all of the Republican clubs that are chartered, either like the Federated or, the Republican Liberty Caucus or any of those groups, to come in and brainstorm of like a message that you want to send out so that it's more uniform?
That I'm not, we haven't done it yet. I mean, we're open to it, right? And maybe not all at the same time, but we do have conversations with, a lot of people. At least I have conversations with a lot of people, and I try to learn, right? And I think, you and I met about a year ago, and really to understand kind of what's going on and what you're hearing. And so you can only learn by listening, right? And so you have to always be willing to hear what people have to say,
right?
Especially what people are seeing in other communities. We have a wonderful, wonderful person by the name of Lauren Spicer, and she comes from a different community than we do, because she's operating primarily in Liberty City. And so she tells me about things that she's seeing in her community. And then, of course, I come from the Jewish community, so I know what's going on in the Jewish community, but I don't necessarily know what's going on in, for example, in your community. Like, you tell me what's going on and what you're hearing. I don't know, for example, Larissa will tell me what's going on in the Russian community, that kind of thing. And so we're always learning from different people, and maybe it's not all done at the same table, right? Kind of like a committee meeting, if you will, but those conversations are happening. And I know that our chairman, Renee Garcia, has been listening to a lot of folks, and Representative Alex Rizzo is another person who's been very active in those types of things.
Okay.
Is Representative Fabricio also? I mean,
yes.
He seems to be. very much.
Yeah, he was
right?
at our last meeting. He actually did the motion to endorse Larissa at our last meeting, and so
Wow.
he's been
That's pretty
fairly
cool.
involved too. It like I said, we're a big party for a big county, and we've got. I mean, just when you think about it, to drive from one end to the county or the other would probably take you about an hour and 45
or
minutes.
more.
And that's without traffic.
That's
No,
without
I mean, from
traffic.
where I am to go to the Thai temple in Homestead, it takes me like an hour and 15 minutes. So, and that's not
Yeah.
even the end to the end, right? So I would say like from one corner to the next, it'd probably take about 2 hours or so.
Literally,
Absolutely.
I mean, we go
Yeah,
all the way from the
huge.
Keys all the way to Broward County. So we really have a very
Yeah,
huge,
exactly. It's huge.
not only is it geographically big, we've got a lot of people. We've got a lot of people.
Oh
And
yeah.
a lot of
How
communities.
many is it? How many million?
They were like 4 million or 5 million in the Miami-Dade County population. It is huge.
Wow. Okay. The last I checked, it was over 3. I didn't see it go over 4, but that's a lot. With that said, do you think 40?
It's 2.6 million.
Oh, okay. We lost. I know we lost some in the census too. Like
yeah,
in
no,
census
that number isn't
2020.
right, man. I see more than that in traffic.
Yeah.
But you got Broward people coming here to work. Don't forget.
That is true.
Notice 95 north after 5 p.m. is like, a deadlock. But when you're coming down to Miami, there's no traffic. So, with that said,
the opposite direction that I need to go in, which it's always. It's clear always in the opposite direction you need to go in. So.
Yeah, no, because I used to travel down to Miami Beach a lot. So no, traffic's horrible in the morning too, going south. Horrible.
Oh yeah, yeah, but it's bad going north.
I leave like 2 hours early to get anywhere.
So, what I mean is, like, I think that.
But
what's that?
What?
I said we jokingly say that we're full, but we're not, because we keep building. So our cities are expanding too, and not only are they going westward, they're going vertical.
Yep.
So, in the city, for example, city of Aventura, we've got 4,000 units set to come online. Brickell's got 9,000. I just heard 3,000 in Florida City in that Homestead area. So developers are building, right? Rental units are coming up, which means our county is only going to get bigger and bigger. Right. But it's getting bigger with folks who are moving in, specifically from areas like New York and California.
Right.
Because of the economic opportunity, and everybody wants to be in Miami. I mean, we're sexy. Everybody wants to, that Miami life. And as a political party, that's great, because that means that we have folks who understand our economic predicament and who want to keep it that way. We just have to reach out to those people.
No, absolutely. Usually in city centers, like big city centers, like Los Angeles, San Francisco, Chicago, New York, like all of these, they are almost always like blue. So yes. It would be interesting to see Miami be the first big city that is red.
I hope it will be, and I think there will come a day where it will be almost. I mean, look, we already are red, right? But
right.
We have a county mayor who's a Democrat. We have some other races that we have coming up, and in 2024, we don't know what's going to happen, right? Is this something that is consistent, or is this something that was a one-time thing? I hope and I pray that at the Republican Party level, at the county level, we're able to keep it a consistent thing,
right,
and make that work across the board. Just because.
So my question is this: with the number of voters that we have increased, right? Okay, so we're looking now at about like 2.6 million people, and you're saying that we have 40 districts with 4 committee men and women plus alternate, etc., in each district, right? So. Does the party think that they should break down the districts more so that there's more of a connection between the committee men and women to the number of population?
That is something that has been brought up. The thing is that that's up to the county, to the state party. That's not up to the county party.
Oh, seriously?
Yeah.
One of the things that I looked into specifically was maybe we can do precinct captains, right? Maybe not necessarily voting members of the Republican Party, but also, friends of the party, or people who kind of like local captains or community captains. That way we can have, local organizations kind of operating in their areas. But keeping the party apparatus small so we don't have a lot of issues with 350 people having to come to get a quorum. Very high thresholds for being over 50%, that kind of thing, because then, it makes it difficult to run an organization with that many people. But we do absolutely need to bring more people into the party. And I think in whatever title or form they come in, as long as they're joining us, there shouldn't be that many barriers to getting involved in the party effort. And I think the way to do that would be, if the state party won't expand the county side, which is fine. We can do precinct captains, and we can do perhaps more clubs locally and stuff like that allow people to get involved more on their community level.
Mm-hmm. How many precincts do we have in 2022? Do you know?
Over 1,000 in Dade County alone.
Wow.
So it's a massive undertaking. Just the election, just the election, 1,000 precincts.
No, I definitely think I think having committee men and women, it makes sense. And then, of course, like if under the committee men and women, there would be precincts, precinct
captains
men and women. That would be really good too. Captains, yeah.
Other counties try that. And they have community captains. And
I think Broward does that. Broward does precinct captains. So, they only have a list of people that they visit every so often, right? And they start to build a relationship with the voters. And I think that's really important, because, right when I was, helping out with the North Miami Beach race, of course, this was my territory, which is like Eastern Shore. So I definitely take care of all the people in my building and my street. The neighbors next door with all the townhouses, and and it actually creates like a relationship there, right? If I continue to reach out to them. Right? Yeah, and then you build a community, a sense of community around it, and I think it's really good. And when they know that I am their neighbor, when I call and I say, hey, I'm your neighbor in this apartment number, and they would be like, oh yeah, hi, they'd be more willing to talk to you, like a random person would be calling to campaign for somebody
from an 800 number. And that is such an important thing to remember too, is that people vote in their communities, right? People vote in their neighborhoods. And I am Jewish, right? So I come from the Northeast Dade part of Aventura. There were no Republican Jews when I first started voting. And it'd be demoralizing. I stand outside.
No, but you know what? And in fairness, you have to know that, obviously, right? They are Israeli Jews.
Now they are, but they weren't
right?
Initially.
Right. I've seen that, because hosting an event with another friend who does a nonprofit, to help the Holocaust survivors. So basically, most of them were Israeli Jews, or people who believe that Jews should have a homeland. So, or at least, right? That. So it's very different.
But it's changed so dramatically. And that seeing that shift just over the last 8 or 9 years has been so dramatic. And when I first started voting, I was the only Republican. Now I'm Mr. Republican, because I have my own little coalition out there of voters. I text them, I make sure they go vote, and we all talk to each other. We have a group chat and so on. But it's important.
Wow. Okay, I got to start doing that.
That's how communities work. I know another woman from actually she lives in Eastern Shore. So I think she'd split your precinct with you, your district with you, over by Quayside. And she called up all her neighbors, and now they have a little group over in the Quayside community of Republicans.
Wow.
So driving down south to Miami for a committee meeting is great, but having that community locally where people are going to vote, and then you pick a candidate from among yourself too. And then you could support a candidate, when a candidate shows up and there's 30, 40 people in a HOA clubhouse, and you talk to them, and then they go vote for you as a group, and they support you as a group. That really, really helps our candidates, and it helps spread the message too. Being a Republican is not as scary as it once was. So
you said being a Republican is not what?
Not as scary as it once was, because communities are accepting them.
Well, you know what? Right now it's going back to being scary, right? With all the persecution of extreme ultra MAGA, whatever, that they're trying to push on.
Red is the new black.
Propaganda.
I don't know if you caught that part. I was like, when he said something, it just gave me a T-shirt idea, like red is the new black. We're in all my Republican club meetings.
Look, we are. Yeah. It's stupid when we get divided that way, right? Because at the end of the day, we all live the same live in the same country and we all live in the same community. And I'll tell you, Lynn, you were there at the log cabin meeting, remember? And somebody said, "Why are you a Republican?" And they said, "Because we live in the same community." And so it totally defeats the narrative that because you have it's either a racial or sexual preference, that you would necessarily vote a specific way or vote part of a monolith, or even a religious, affiliation, that you would vote as part of a monolith. We all live in the same communities. We want the same things. We want to have roads that work. We want to have a government that's responsive to us. We want to be able to answer, a government that answers to our concerns.
Correct.
That's the most important part.
Right. And the thing is, I also think like we also want to all be respected the same way too, right?
Of course.
I mean, I think it's like living in the same and acknowledging that there is the same community. They also, respect each other and coexist and be productive inside of that.
We all go to the same Publix and we all go down the same streets. So, at the end of the day, those are the things that matters to people the most, right?
Yeah.
And they always try to divide us. This is the way the left works. They divide you into groups and then they expect you to vote the way your group is supposed to vote.
Yeah.
And if we've seen anything
no, and
in
then they
2022,
kind of prop you against each other, right? And then when it doesn't work, it's like, oh well, let's ignore that. Yeah that's definitely
and
so
that's the part of right.
So what are some of the changes you see like that really, like the first thing you're going to do as a vice chair?
Well, the first, I mean, I'm not going in there to destroy everything and build it up new. I think we've got something really good on our hands. I think we've done really good work. And so we have to keep what's worked and then realize what hasn't worked. And so I'll tell you what has worked. The digital push has worked. Bringing more people into the party has worked. Reaching out to people who otherwise would not have joined us and would not have supported our party has worked. Having really, really incredible candidates has worked. And so those are all things that we need to replicate again in 24 and 26 and as we go down the line. This isn't a backup option for me. This isn't something that I'm doing as a way to, make money for myself. I don't get paid for this volunteer, but I do want to win. And I think, Florida is the last best hope for freedom in America, because when everything else goes belly up, at least we've got Florida, right? And so, well, not at least, I thank God we've got Florida, right? Amen. And so if Florida goes, our country will suffer, and then people's businesses will suffer. It's a really, really good time to be a Floridian. It's a really, really good time to be an American, and we have to keep it that way. We absolutely have to keep it that way. So that's what I'm going to do, right? We're going to keep reaching out. We're going to keep talking to folks, sharing our message, and bringing them into the party.
I mean, that freedom you're speaking of is felt everywhere but Broward. But anyway, so that's good to know. So a quick question. I'm just curious. What is your guys' your operation budget? If that's a question that you're able to answer, like what's your
So last cycle, the Republican Party in Miami raised about $500,000, and that came in primarily from the Lincoln Day dinner. Obviously there's costs associated with those kinds of things, but that was pretty much around. I'm not exactly sure what the operational budget ended up being. It's available for public viewing on the federal elections and on the Florida Division of Elections. The Dade County Division of Elections. But it was around $500,000 this cycle.
That's pretty good.
That's good. So, I mean, did you spend all of it in this election cycle?
I don't know. That's a good question. I don't know how much.
We got to get their treasurer on the line.
We've got a fantastic treasurer, Annette. She does an absolutely wonderful job. She's a dynamite treasurer because it is a lot of money, and it comes in sometimes in the form of $10 and $20, and sometimes it comes in $20,000. Right. And so keeping track of all of it, keeping it moving, and then, of course, getting all the things printed. Voter guides printed that has to be paid for.
Right.
We do text messages that has to be paid for. Our website, all the other things that we have to pay for. So we've been blessed really with a really wonderful team, and Annette is wonderful. She's our treasurer, and Max, our secretary, has also done a really good job. And so between our executive board, they've really, really been able to do a great job. And it showed on election day when everyone worked together to get things done, but both at the executive committee and the executive board.
Good deal.
Awesome. Okay. Oh gosh, I was gonna ask something and I lost it. Mo, do you have anything else?
Oh no, I mean Kevin's done a really good job of
Oh,
answering.
okay, I know now. Okay, so there was a
Oh, okay, what was it?
massive controversy, right? Where money was given to support a primary candidate against another Republican.
In which race was this? I'm sorry.
I believe it was 119.
So that was Rhonda's district.
No, 119. That's 120. Jim Mooney and Rhonda. But I mean, Jim Mooney, I understand because Jim Mooney was an incumbent or is an incumbent when he was running in the primary. But
yes.
So my question is, I think it was like once and Roberto Gonzalez, and then there were 5 Republicans in that race.
I don't believe that our county party endorsed in that race. It is possible that another organization, maybe the state party, or I don't know, right? So I don't want to speculate who gave money, but we did not get involved in the primary in 119. The only candidates we endorsed this cycle were the party endorsed was Barkeen, Kevin Cabrera, and Larissa are some of the ones that we've supported and endorsed. The party generally does not get involved in primaries.
Okay.
And
so that means that like they will completely stay out of it. But so you said that because you didn't want to speculate on like which part of the Republican Party actually support one person.
I'm not sure. Yeah, look, Juan is a wonderful candidate, and he had a lot of support.
Okay.
What was that? Oh, I'm sorry.
I was going to say that, like, okay, so because we don't want to speculate, and you said that he doesn't, whatchamacallit? Okay, so he's a good candidate, I got that. But what I'm saying is, like, the party itself, Miami Republican, did not support Juan Porras in the primary at all. Is that correct?
I don't believe so. I don't believe so.
Okay.
We endorse under what's called Article 8 of the RPOF. And that is a specific process that requires, you have to have a certain number of voters there. You have to give certain days notice that you're going to be taking the vote. And we did that for Larissa and for Kevin Cabrera. That was the meeting where those candidates were endorsed. We also endorsed, obviously, our state house candidates after the primary. But that was all done out in the open. And those endorsements were posted on social media. So it's all kind of out there. After the general, after the primary, we did, obviously, of course, the party does help its candidates out.
It's full steam ahead at that point. Yeah, for sure. No, I mean, I just heard some rumors about people who were not, in open seats, there were Republican candidates and the party actually supported one over the other and whatnot. So, I mean, I don't know if that's, I'm just checking in with you on the reality of it. So.
And we know you're the honest guy. Did he freeze? It like froze. Is he posing?
No, he froze. Okay.
I mean, it's a good
I guess
freeze.
that's up. I know, right? It's a good pose.
You're gonna end on it's better than ending on some more awkward poses.
Oh, you know what? You can see his signal go red. I mean, like you see that. Like,
yeah.
Probably adjusting a little. We're probably waiting for that. Almost done. We are almost done. I
feel like he's just like a team out, or like
looks like. Yeah, but I mean the signal is bad. You could see it go.
That's what happens in Miami-Dade. You guys got good politics, but bad internet signal.
We lost him. Anyway, I mean, like, I think we've exhausted all the questions that we could have asked him, and why don't we close out for today, Mo?
All right. So until next time, America, it is, first of all, let's thank our guest, Kevin Cooper, for joining us and answering some very interesting questions that we had about, Miami-Dade's process on the Republican executive committees. So we look forward to having him again in the future. Hopefully on his election, he is very successful and he can come back and join us then. And in our future shows to come, we're also going to have some more people that are going to, again, give some more insight to Broward. That's going to be a very interesting and adventurous segment. And then also the Palm Beach segment as well. So until next time, it is me, Mo, the unpolitician, joined by my co-host Lin Su. Please don't forget to like or subscribe on. Don't lick it, and that's just weird. But hit like or subscribe on YouTube, like and subscribe, or like and follow on Facebook, Political Pulse Live, and if you're on Twitter, it is Political Pulse 2. Remember, like, don't lick, and until next time.
Yeah, see you next time. Thank everyone for watching today's extended episode. See you later. You guys.
Have a great night, America. Bye.